Hello and welcome to Sports Talkies. I'm your host, Sullivan. Football is every child's dream in Goa. Playgrounds see a number of children kicking a ball around. To facilitate their dream of playing the beautiful sport, we have with us Nathaniel D'costa, Senior Manager of the Forca Goa Foundation. Hello, Nathaniel. Please tell us a little bit about what you do with the Forca Goa Foundation.
Hi, thanks Ali for having me on the show. I've been working with the Forca Goa Foundation for about 6 years now. Our organization is mainly working towards developing grassroots in Goa and developing the grassroots ecosystem across the country as well. When we talk about grassroots, we're not talking about just children playing football. We're talking about the entire ecosystem. That's referees, coaches, physios, getting grounds developed, and of course, children as well.
Tell me a little something about the Little Gauze League. How did that come across? How did that come about?
The Little Gauze League is in its third. We've completed 3 editions of the Little Gauze League now, and we are on the 4th that will happen November this year. We started the league because we realized that at a junior age category, that is under 6 to under 12, there wasn't too much competition for children. At the school level, children have tournaments to participate in, but if they have a bad game or they don't have their main player and they get knocked out in the tournament, that's it. That's their match for the year. But we required, for the overall development of the child, for the child to progress in her career, in his or her career, they needed to play more regularly. And because of that, we decided to start the Little Gauze League.
Do you face any sort of challenges with regard to convincing parents to enroll their children for the Little Gauze League?
In the first year and the second year, we did face a few challenges because, and I understand the challenges faced because Goa doesn't have a good public transport system, so it's difficult to get children to come onto a ground on a regular basis, week on week, right? Everybody is okay to send a child 1 or 2 match days on over a weekend for a tournament, but to send a child every week for 3 months is very difficult. And that was one of the biggest issues we had, as well as the costs involved in running a league like this. Parents did not see the value in paying for a child to play football regularly. But from the 3rd year onwards, it's been getting easier. Now that we've run the league successfully, parents have seen the value long-term league like the Little Gauze League has on the overall child's development, and it's not as difficult to convince them anymore.
What about the pandemic? How has that hampered your plans?
That was a huge challenge, of course, not just for football, but for any sport and for any kind of children's development, right? Because every child was indoors. During the pandemic, we worked on an at-home football program where we tried to get the child engaged with the game. We had coach sessions sent to them on WhatsApp, so they could download the sessions, follow what the coach's instructions were, and try and practice those simple passing drills, dribbling drills, shooting in the comfort of their home, whether it was indoor or outdoor. We designed it in such a way that they did not require too much space, did not require too much equipment except for a ball. While it wasn't ideal, the idea was just to have the child still play the game and enjoy the game. The pandemic actually brought development of the game for us in Goa. You know, we had to take 2 steps back again. We had to kind of start from scratch because all the progress we made over the last couple of years in terms of convincing children, parents and coaches to participate in grassroots football, we had to start from scratch all over again. But there is still enthusiasm now that the schools have reopened again. We are excited. We are looking forward to how the game will progress in the next couple of years.
In terms of infrastructure, Goa is probably not the ideal place to hold a tournament like this as compared to a major city, say like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. How do you circumvent these issues while holding a league such as this?
It's the opposite actually. Goa does have, it's a catch-22 situation because Goa does have fantastic grounds. We have about 190 football fields across Goa. But the problem is we don't have access to them because the fields are either owned by the Sports Authority of Goa or by the panchayats or by different other church bodies. So it's very difficult to get access to these grounds even though there are multiple grounds to play. And even getting access, people will say, oh, there's a ground over here, why don't you use it? You have to understand that the ground has to be safe and accessible, not just for the boys but for girls as well. Most of our grounds don't have lights, most of our grounds don't have toilets, most of our grounds don't have changing rooms. And while that is okay for a boy to come and play, a girl will not make it and play, or a parent will not send a child without those facilities. So it's very important to have a ground that will be safe for the child and have those facilities around. So in the first couple of years, again, the challenges were huge, but the foundation is here now to bridge those gaps, right? To come and figure out what the gaps in the system are and trying to bridge them. And that's why we're here. So we are working with different organizations. We are working with the GFA. We are looking at grounds and seeing how we can make them better. We have taken up 2 projects, one at Salvador del Mundo and one at Montegiri, to try and create better facilities, create better opportunities for children to come and play.
That sounds absolutely lovely. Could you tell me a little bit about the support that you've been receiving from the government, or any sort of external support in terms of sponsors that the Forca Goa Foundation currently has?
So we are still a fairly new organization. We are about 4 years old, and you take off 2 years because of the pandemic. So it's been challenging to try and get sponsors. We are still mainly funded by the club. But over the last 2 years, we are lucky to get sponsorship for the Little Gauze League. This year, Tata Motors came on board and sponsored the Little Gauze League because they saw value in the league. During the pandemic, we got a small fund from UNESCO because they believed in our project again in reaching the online football project that I was talking to you about. UNESCO believed in that. They provided funding for that. And slowly, as we are growing, people are taking us a little more seriously. People are appreciating the work that we are doing, and we hope to get a lot more of our projects funded by either corporate bodies or individuals within Goa.
In terms of officiating, in terms of having referees on board, what is that like? I mean, how are you associated with any sort of organizations?
Yep, we work with the Goa Football Association. We have tied up with the Goa Football Association. We do not want to work in silos. One thing that the foundation believes is that every stakeholder within the football system has to work together. So we do not want to step on anyone's toes. We want to work together, see what strengths everyone has, and use it to the advantage of development for the children. So with the Goa Football Association, we've been working with them. We did a whole road show, in fact, last year across 7 towns, 7 centers, to talk about the Little Gauze League, to talk about the importance of the baby league and why Goa as a place needs it for their children to participate in. And in terms of referees, we work with the Referee Association, and we get licensed referees from the Referee Association who take part in our leagues.
I believe you have a few coaching badges yourself. Could you tell me a little something about that, and what was that experience like?
So I've got my D license coach, and I've just applied for my first C diploma program as well. I finished my first module. I'm completing my second module in the 3rd week of August. And I also went through the Premier League coaching program, and now I'm a coach educator from the Premier League. All of them were incredible experiences, because as a football fan, to come and see the other side of the game where you're like working on the child's development, to see what is required to develop a child, how you can make a difference in a child's life through fun training methods, was a very exciting learning experience for me.
How does the FC Goa first team help the Forca Goa Foundation and vice versa?
The foundation is an integral part of the club. It's not while they are 2 separate organizations, we work in tandem. The club sees value of having the foundation by its side, and of course, the foundation, by having the club to look up to, the children have good role models. They have aspirations. They have dreams that they can work towards. So with all our programs, the club is always a call away with anything that we need. Players are always accessible to us. For all our Little Gauze League projects, for all our community projects, we always have access to players to come through. We don't have to worry too much. They're always looking forward to working with the children. We have a great bunch of players working at the club who see the value of the foundation, who want to give back to the community. For example, we used to have Mandar, the captain, coming earlier for the Little Gauze League. Then we had the foreign players coming in. We had a session with some of our players went to meet the coach at the training session, got a chance to meet Coach One at that time, and he spoke and interacted with them. So the club and the players is always accessible. They're always a call away.
As far as I know, the Forca Goa Foundation has launched a Field of Dreams project. Could you tell me what that is about?
Sure. Like I said, we are looking to develop the entire footballing ecosystem, right? And usually when you talk about the football ecosystem, it's a triangle where you have the grassroots at the bottom and the first team right on top, and that's what people work towards. But the way we see it, it's not the triangle, it's a circle, and around it you have the community, you have infrastructure, and you have the other people working within football, like we are talking about the coaches, referees, etc. So the Field of Dreams is looking at the infrastructure aspect of it, where we want to make good grounds accessible to children throughout, and when I say good grounds, that are accessible through the year, that have good changing room facilities, toilet facilities, that are working, they have drinking water, they have a place for parents to work on, to come and watch the games. We've started with 2 projects. One is at Salvador del Mundo, where the club has taken up a 10-year lease to develop the ground there, and our first team works on that ground. And now recently we've tied up with St. Anthony's High School, Montegiri, where we're going to be working to develop 2 grounds there for our academy and for our Little Gods League as well. So while we have the grounds developed, we will also use those grounds to develop the community around it. For example, at Salvador del Mundo, we have free training for the children around the village. We have about 60 children coming in every Sunday to train under C-licensed coaches, so that's a great opportunity. So they get to train while the first team is around them,
So the experience is wholesome.
The experience is incredible. Imagine as a child, you see your first team playing on the ground, and after a while, once they leave, you go onto the ground and you're training there. That's where your dreams develop, right? I want to be at that place next time. So that's what we're trying to do, get the child to dream, get the child to fulfill those dreams, get the child to work hard, and create a system where the child knows, if I come in here, I can go up that ladder, I have that pathway available for me to become a professional footballer if I want to.
How does FC Goa compare with respect to all the other ISL teams? Talking primarily about the Forca Goa Foundation here, how does FC Goa compare?
I honestly would not want to comment on that aspect of it, because every club, again, India is such a big region, right? Every club has different priorities in the way they need to work on their grassroots. So I do not want to say that FC Goa is doing a better job or worse job than anybody else. What I'm interested in is focusing on what we have to do within Goa, what the Goan challenges are, and then see if we can try and meet those challenges and showcase that model to other clubs elsewhere, as this is a good working model. This is a model that can help in developing grassroots football across India, and then take that forward. It is a conversation we have been having with other clubs as well. We are trying to showcase the FC Goa development model. It is successful at a certain level, but there's still a lot more work to be done. Again, this developing and working in grassroots is not a 1-year, 2-year project, right? It's a 10-year project. You will see results only in 10 years, in 15 years, because when you're working with a child at the age of 5 or 6, it's only in 15 years that he will make it to the pro level. So I hope that the work we are putting in now we reap those rewards in another decade or so. But there's a long way to go. I think we are doing exceptional work right now for a 3-year-old organization, for a 4-year-old organization. The amount of work we put in, the kind of impact we are having on children, on the game across Goa is amazing to see. To see children just playing football week in, week out, to see that development take place, to see them getting excited about the game is fantastic. This year, for example, at the Little Gods League, we had a team come from Bombay. They traveled every weekend, 9 weekends in a row to play the Little Gods League. And I asked them why they are doing that. They said this is the best opportunity they have. Imagine if a team from Bombay is going to travel for 3 months just to play football in Goa, compete with football in Goa. That
is testament to the quality of the league.
Exactly.
How has the current ownership of FC Goa helped with progressing this brand?
again, I did not work with the previous owner. I came on board with the club when the new owners took over, and they have a great vision. I would say, as a fan of the club, as a fan of football, I've been working in Indian football since 2008. I've been writing for football, for media. I've been working with Churchill Brothers. So I've been working in football, and I've been interested in developing the game. And now finally, there's leadership at the top that is interested in walking the talk and just not saying things. They're interested in making those changes, and I can see it. It's happening on the ground. You can see the players, Goan players, making it to the first team. You can see that we have an academy system that's moving forward. We have an under 13 team, an under 15 team. We have a youth team, a dev team. So that's all in place. From next year, we're going to have a residential academy at Montegiri. So while people from the outside may say this is not working out, there's a plan. It's a process. It's not going to happen in 2 years, in 3 years. But like I said, in 10 years, we will definitely be somewhere at top of the Indian football system.
Do you see any of your academy players play for the national team in years to come?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's actually one of our goals. Our goal is to develop players who are good enough to make it for the national team, and we're always constantly. We are lucky to have Coach Derek as our technical head, and I am lucky and honored to work with him on such a close basis, on a daily basis. He's always around. He's always giving feedback and talking about the work we need to push ourselves to do to improve our players. So even at the grassroots level, we are constantly saying, how can we make our children better? How can we work with our children so they make it at that level to the national team? Just a simple example would be that when we started FC Goa, when the new owners came through, we had 1 or 2 Goan players in the national team. Now we have about 4 Goan players, and plus another 2 more who are not Goan but playing for the club in the national team. So we have a lot of players from the club who are making to the national team, and that's especially, and also from the youth team who are moving forward. From our academy teams who are coming towards to the first team as well. That progression is happening. It's going on. So we are moving in the right direction. There's work to be done, but we are getting there.
The entire FC Goa family is known as a closed unit behind closed doors. How do you sum up your experience working with an organization such as this?
I have been lucky to work with this organization. Again, like I said, I always look at myself as a fan first, and then as a coach or someone working with the club. So I always look outside take an outside perspective and see what a fan would want to do, right? What would a fan want to see? And as a fan, I can't find fault with the club. The club has made it to the Champions League. The club has won titles almost or if not one title, they're always competing for titles year on year. The club has a good academy system. Local boys are making it to the first team. There's nothing, as a fan, there's not much to complain. The club plays attractive football, and within the club, it's a good, again, behind the scenes, it's a nice atmosphere to work in. I work mainly with the foundation. We are a very small, closed team. We have about 6 members in office and 6 members as coaches on the ground. It's great to work with them. The good part is it's football. Everybody, the football fan, everybody wants the best for the game. Everybody wants the game to grow. And you know how Indian football fans are. They're mad passionate about the game.
What are your plans going forward with regard to the Forca Goa Foundation? What does the Forca Goa Foundation look forward to seeing, say, in the next 5 years?
We have big dreams. Like I said, the key things that we are working on is increasing competition for children. There are what we say are pillars: developing better coaches and developing communities through football, and improving infrastructure. So while we started these small projects, we've kicked it off trying to find the best and most efficient way to run these projects. What we want to do is scale year on year, scale where almost every child in Goa has the opportunity to play. We're not going to be forcing every child to play, but they should have the opportunity. If a child wants to get into football, there should be an opportunity for the child, boy or girl, to play football. And I say that it has to be from a child from the ages of 4 to 5 up to the ages of 18, ideally. So we are working towards creating the system. We are working with partners, trying to sell our idea to other organizations, other partners, to try and get them on board on this vision. And it's happening. It's working. We are a work in progress, but we are getting there. We want to take this model and say this is a successful model and take it outside Goa. Eventually, if this model works, that is our league, our coach development model and our infrastructure development model, if it works, we want to take it outside of Goa, hopefully to the states across India, and be the leaders for grassroots development in the country.
That's all we have time for today in Sports Talkies. I was in conversation with Nathaniel D'costa, Senior Manager of the Forca Goa Foundation. Parents, if your kids have a dream to play football, Forca Goa Foundation can be a facilitator. We'll be back next week with another edition of Sports Talkies. Till then, this is Sullivan signing out. Goodbye.